This is Solid Radio.
Hi Ria, welcome to Solid Radio. I know Sooty the Solid Radio cat is really excited to have you on the station. We're a massive fan of Morgan and his brothers here at Solid HQ. So Ria, can you tell our listeners how Morgan came into your life?
We rescued Morgan and his twin brother Morris a few years ago. They'd been given to someone who we knew, but he really wasn't looking after them. At the time, he was living in a caravan and they weren't being very well cared for at all. So we came to an agreement with the owner that as he couldn't cope with them, that we were happy to take him and they can come to live with us at MogMan Manor.
Those of us that follow Morgan on Facebook know all about his fantastic wardrobe. Can you tell our listeners, Ria, more about MogMan's wardrobe and MogMan's apparel and how it all came about?
Not long after we got the boys, Morgan started having allergic reactions to several things. In April 2020, he had a really bad flare-up where he scratched himself raw all down his back. We got some little pet T-shirts from him, just from a pet shop to wear just to prevent him doing any more damage. As time went on and his skin condition sort of continued, his wardrobe grew. I believe he's got about 40 jumpers and T-shirts now. Some are shop bought, some have come from overseas, and some have even been made especially for him by his friends. I think the boy's got more clothes than I do.
Catching up with Morgan on Facebook, we've noticed that Morgan has been recently fundraising for Wisteria Cat Rescue. Can you tell our listeners more about that?
Yeah, we came across Wisteria through one of Mog's online friends. We put a post out on his Facebook page asking for suggestions of animal charities that we could raise money for, and they were one of the ones that was suggested. Since then, we've done a couple of fundraisers to help him out and hoping to do more.
Staying on the topic of fundraising, Morgan's current fundraiser is for animals left behind during the war in Ukraine. It's called Dogs and Homes. Can you tell me more about this, Ria?
Yeah, his current fundraiser is for Dogs and Homes, who are raising money to help the animals that have been left behind during the war in Ukraine. They aim to take food and necessities out to help the animals. And Morgan's doing a sponsored sun puddle where he plans to do a 48-hour sunbathing session. And he's also doing a few raffles to raise money for them too. Some of which is his Mogwear, some things that have been donated by his friends and our friends as well. So keep an eye out for those.
There's one thing I want to know, Ria, is how do you manage to whittle down the photos for the calendar? I know last year you asked his Facebook followers to help choose from the final selection, but how hard is it to get to that final selection?
I've got about 2,000 photos of the boys so far this year, so this is quite a challenge. As I take them, I generally put them aside if they stand out to me. There's a separate album that I've got just for those photos. And then come August, I'll put them all up on his Facebook page and I let the public vote for their favourite 13 pictures. And these are the ones that will make it into the final calendar. And I'll also do the same for his Christmas cards as well.
I know a lot of people are waiting to hear the answer to this one, Ria. How can our listeners donate to one of Morgan's fundraisers and also keep up to date with what Morgan and his brothers are up to?
If anyone would like to donate towards his charity work, they can message him on his Facebook page, which is MogMan's Wardrobe, where he'll gladly give them information how to do so. And he puts up regular updates on there as to what he's up to and with his fundraising and sort of which charities he's raising for at the moment. He also has his Instagram account, which is MogMans_wardrobe, which he puts all the information up on there as well.
Now, Sooty has told me that Morgan now has a YouTube and TikTok account. How do our listeners follow him, Ria?
Yes, he's also recently branched out into video. He has a TikTok account, which is MogMan's Wardrobe, all one word. And also he's got a YouTube account, which is MogMan's Wardrobe. We're slowly getting to grips with the video thing, though we're still practicing really with that one.
Can we talk about the rest of the family? Can you introduce us and talk about how you all came to be one big happy family?
Yeah, we've got 4 boys all together, the MogMan Manor 4. The first one to arrive with us was Mr. Bimble, our black cat. We got him 4 years ago, and shortly after that he got friendly with a local stray cat. One day we woke up and found both of them asleep at the end of the bed, and so we started searching, trying to find information on him, but no owner came forward, and he wasn't chipped, so the vets couldn't find an owner. So we decided we'd keep him and call him Henry. Of course, story of Morgan and Morris we've already mentioned earlier, and thankfully all the boys get on really well, give or take the odd disagreement, but on the whole they love each other.
Morgan's known Ria for hosting some great parties, always being advertised on Facebook. Do you have plans for another one in the near future, or does Morgan have plans?
I believe Morgan's planning plenty more parties. He's got one booked for the Queen's Jubilee celebrations, which is a big long weekend party. And who knows what else. I guess they'll be doing birthday parties for all of them as well. I think he'd quite like to become a professional party planner.
I've got to ask Ria, how did What's It Wednesday start?
Oh yes, What's It Wednesday? That's become a bit of a thing with his Facebook friends, really. It all started out when I had a bag of What's-Its with my lunch and he wouldn't leave me alone, so I thought I'd let him have one and didn't think he'd like it, to be honest. It turns out he did. Once his friends on the internet got wind of this, it became a Wednesday thing for him to have a cheeky What's-It for lunch. We couldn't get hold of the prawn cocktail ones for ages in our local shop, so some of his online friends actually posted him some, so he's been receiving lots of parcels of What's-Its recently.
So Ria, tell our listeners once more how they can donate to one of Morgan's charities.
If anyone would like to donate to Morgan's charity work, they can go to his Facebook page, which is MogMan's Wardrobe, or alternatively there's the Instagram, which is MogMan's_wardrobe.
Well, it's been a pleasure chatting to you on Solid Radio, Ria, and I know we have loads of Morgan's fans tuned in. So we're going to finish off with a handful of tunes from Morgan's music hoodie collection, or songs that we feel are appropriate to Morgan. If you're a follower, you'll know what I'm talking about. Thanks again, Ria.
Thank you so much for having me on here to tell Morgan's little story.
This is Solid Radio.